A 19-year-old boy sat crying in a prison medbay, convinced his father hated him, and my dad had no idea what that boy had already done to his father months before. If stories like this stay with you, hit subscribe, because this is one my dad only told us years after it happened. Growing up, my dad used to tell us stories from his years working in the prison system. A lot of them probably weren't meant for kids to hear, but a few have stuck with me for years, and this one especially. One day, my dad's sergeant called him in to cover some overtime in the medbay. One of the newer inmates was causing a lot of noise, and staff couldn't leave him alone overnight. He had mental health issues that put him at risk of hurting himself. My dad had 5 kids at home and needed the extra money, so he agreed without hesitation. After a few hours sitting in an uncomfortable office chair, rereading the same book, listening to this young man yell, cry, and call out for his father over and over, my dad finally got up and walked over to talk to him. He asked him plainly, "Why are you screaming and yelling so much?" The kid was only 19. He'd never been in trouble before in his life. He looked at my dad and said, "I think my dad hates me." My dad didn't ask why he felt that way, and he didn't agree with him either. Instead, he sat down next to him and told him about his own 5 kids. How they'd done plenty of stupid things over the years, things that frustrated him, disappointed him, made him wonder what on earth they were thinking. But none of it, not one single thing, had ever made him hate any of them. He told the kid, plainly and directly, no matter what you do, no matter what you did, no matter what you think, your father will always love you. Something about hearing that finally settled the kid down. For the first time in what had clearly been a long while, he fell asleep. The next morning, my dad's sergeant came in to relieve him and immediately noticed how quiet everything was. When he asked what happened, my dad explained he'd just sat down and talked to the kid and told him exactly what he'd said the night before. His sergeant's expression changed. He told my dad to pull the kid's file and read through it before heading home. So he did. And that's when he learned the full story. This young man had serious mental health struggles that required an enormous amount of his father's time and attention. His father was a doctor, working long, exhausting shifts, and one day he came home completely drained, telling his son, "Let me rest for a few hours. I'm all yours after that." That answer wasn't what his son needed to hear in that moment. A few hours later, in a state of crisis, the boy went into the kitchen, took a knife, and ended his father's life. After reading through everything, my dad walked back to his sergeant and simply said, "I stand by what I told him." Then he went home, hugged his wife, sent his 5 kids off to school, and went to bed. It was years before he ever told us this story, and even after everything that boy had done, what stayed with my dad the most wasn't the crime itself. It was how afraid that kid still was of his father's love, even after his father was already gone. What this story taught me is something I've never forgotten. People carry pain in ways we can't always see. And sometimes the kindest thing you can offer someone isn't judgment or explanation, but simply reminding them they are still worthy of love, no matter what they've done or what they believe about themselves. And if anything in this story hit close to home for you, please know that support is out there, and reaching out to someone you trust or a mental health professional is always a strong and worthwhile step to take.